Hello friends, welcome back. Today we're going to use body-parser to parse post requests. If you haven't been following along throughout the whole thing, this is going to seem difficult because we're actually deploying to a real Heroku served web app. And so start at the beginning of this section if you haven't done that before. Besides get, there is another common HTTP verb. It is post. Post is the default method used to send client data with HTML forms. In the REST convention, which is read, evaluates, I can't remember what REST is. Post is used to send data to create new items in the database, a new user or a new blog post. You don't have a database in this project, but you are going to learn how to handle post requests anyway. In these kind of requests, the data doesn't appear in the URL, it is hidden in the request body. This is a part of the HTML request, also called the payload. Since HTML is text-based, even if you don't see the data, it doesn't mean that it is a secret. The raw content of an HTTP post request is shown below. So here we have post, the path is equal to, and then there's a subpath, and then they're just passing in the number 1 from John, user agent, some browser. So this is all the information it has. It has encoded content type. And then there's the name is equal to John Doe, and the age is 25. So as you can see, the body is encoded like the query string. This is the default. The body is encoded like the query string. The name is the key. John Doe is the value. So there's key value pair. So this is a object with 2 key value pairs, name and age, and it's separated by an n%. So it's encoded the same as a query string. This is the default format used by HTML forms. With Ajax, you can also use JSON to handle data having a more complex structure. There's also another type of encoding, multi-part form data. This one is used to upload binary files. In this exercise, you will use a URL encoded body. To parse the data coming from post requests, you have to install a body parser package. Remember, we already installed some packages, so we know how to do that. Body parser, this package allows you to use a series of middleware which can decode data in different formats. So the first thing we want to do is install body parser module into your package.json. So let's go check out body parser, npm. We can get body parser here, and then required at the top of the file. Okay, so we're going to get body parser. Let's see here. Installation. There's always different ways to install npm packages. So they say npm install body parser. So there's multiple ways to do this, but let's just do it the way that they've got it. So currently, oh wow, body parser is already here. So yeah, let's pretend body parser weren't here. I'm going to come over here. You can see I'm at the root. It's boilerplate npm, and I'm going to say npm install body parser. And I don't know if that's even going to change anything here. We install body parser. It looks like something changed. I wasn't actually watching up here. But anyways, and now if we hadn't done that, we want to make sure we run npm install. If we have previously done it, npm install is not actually going to do much. But npm install is a good way to just it's kind of like resetting your computer. It just refreshes the thing. So if I go get status, you can see, oh, package.json has been updated. So this package.json file did change, but npm install didn't, so I don't know that it actually made a difference. And then so here it says var body parser require body parser. So this is the installation, and this is how you get it started. And I think our instructions actually tell us to do that. Then require it at the top of your file. Require it at the top of the file. So if we go to myapp.js, first we want to go to the top of the file and say require. And then this should be oh no, look, we're using single quotes. So I want to use single quotes for require. And store it as a variable named body parser. Okay, so var body parser is equal to require body parser. To middleware. The middleware to handle URL encoded data is returned by body-parser.url extended that. So we want to pass to app.use the function returned by the previous method call. Okay. The middleware must be mounted before all routes need it. Okay, so this is middleware, meaning that we're adding this to the thing. So, okay, yeah, we're going to be adding it here rather than down here. Why do we not add, place it before? Why do we not add it here? And we add it up here because we want this is called middleware, and we want the middleware to run before all the other routes run because we want it to run on all routes. It doesn't say anything about paths, so we're going to say app.use, and usually you put your path here, right? But we want the path to just be all paths, so we're not adding it there. I'm going to go function, request, res, and then for middleware, we need to make sure we add the next in there, because if we don't add next, it gets stuck on the middleware. And so before, we can just add next here because we know we want to do that at the end of our code. And it looks like we say the middleware to, okay, then required at the top, store it as a variable body parser. And then the middleware to the handle URL encoded data is returned by body-parser.url. So yeah, I think we just paste that in here. And we'll see that, oh, var body parser. That's what we added up here. So as usual, middleware must be mounted before all the routes which need it. Okay, so I think that this is one of those exercises where we're not actually going to see any functional change in our application. So yeah, let's save this. Let's console.log. I guess we could console log body parser. Let's see what happens when this happens. So if I save this, and then I'm going to go over here to my production app, or in the root, I'm going to say npm start to get my local machine running this application. So what happens if we load the URL page? Well, this is brand new information. What we're doing now is we're logging the body parser. So the body parser is being printed out as this guy. So it has JSON, raw, text, URL encoded. My guess is this is a lot of information in here. And yeah, so that's good. It looks like we're adding this middleware to the application. So I'm going to get rid of the console log, and I'm going to cancel the local server. So the local server won't run now. And so now we have it running locally, but what we want to do now is get it pushed so that our production app is running it, right? Because we have our application on Heroku, but right now this Heroku server does not have the information that we have saved here. So here's our logs for our production server. And so we're going to say get add, and then we're going to say get commit, and we're going to say add body parser, and what do you say? Run and add function to run for each route. Okay, so now we've staged the commit, our changes are ready, and now we can push this code change to our development server. So get push Heroku head master. Okay, so now as my local machine is pushing this code up, and Heroku is interacting with my local machine saying we've installed the dependencies, we've built the cache of node modules, and we're compressing it. And then once it says launching here, oh, you know what? I think that I've timed out here. I think I need to restart the logs. Yeah, now it says state change from starting to up. So we are back to live. So now if I come over here and, yeah, well, the problem with this one is if I run the changes, I don't think it's going to actually show anything. Yeah, I undid the console log, so we're not actually going to even see anything in here. But if we see, we can see that with our changes, we're not, we haven't changed the way the application works. We can still work on everything. So that tells me that it's probably not broken. But having the body parser functioning in here doesn't really change anything in terms of what we can see in the production app. So I'll take it back over to here, and then I'm pasting in the root URL of our production app, and I'm going to say we've completed the challenges. Okay, did not work, so I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so after researching this a little bit, I'm realizing I'm actually doing this quite incorrectly. The documentation requires that it actually shows you how to use this. So app.use, so I've scrolled down to here and it's like express, connect, top level, generic. So this is the thing that we want to do. Here we have our app, so we've saved our app as an express app, app.use, body parser, extended false. And then it says, then we want to parse the JSON. And so, yeah, let's just paste these guys in here. So instead of this body parser middleware thing that I made, which was totally wrong, I'm just going to get rid of that. Well, let's keep that parse application JSON in there. What does this does? Parse the application XML form format. So I'm just going to save this. Now I've copied directly from the NPM package information. Let's have another one. Let's add app.get, and then we're going to say body parsed info. So we're just going to add an application, and then we're going to say we're going to create a function with a request and a response. And here we're going to say res.json, and in the JSON object we're going to pass in parsed, and we're going to say, in here we're going to say body parser. So what I'm doing now is I've just created a get things in which we can go to this URL and we'll get information from the body parser. So maybe we'll have to do body parser.json. Now we'll just do body parser, see what happens. Okay, so if I save this and then I go over here, npm start. Again, I don't think that this is actually required. I'm just trying to show you how this works. So if I go to our app, localhost, and then at this get request, we get an empty thing. So, body parser. What happens if we go .json? If I save this, cancel, restart the web app, refresh, still don't get anything. What happens if I just console.log body parser? Save that, cancel this, run this, refresh. Okay, so then now we're getting the body parser. So it must be some sort of internal tool that's being used. So I'm not really understanding this entirely, but I'm just going to get rid of that now and then save this, because I'm pretty sure that this is what is going to be required to pass these tests. So I'm going to cancel the local server, and I want to push this to my production environment, because in order to pass these tests, we need to have our production app, which can be found here. We can, at this URL, we need to have that work. So I want to push this to our production app. So that is git add, git commit, update, body, fix error with body parser initiation. Now I can want to say something like git push, and I want to add this to the Heroku, and I'm going to say to the branch of headmaster. And so now I'm pushing this code to our production server. If this is sounding repetitive to you, that's great, because repetition is helpful in learning. If you haven't gone through all the ones that we've done for basic node and package management, then you probably should. See, in our production app, in Heroku, the servers are saying we've started to build what Ian's pushed up. We've deployed, we've released version 75. It's taken a while to go through these. And now it's listening. So yeah, now our thing's working. The problem with this exercise is that we're not really going to see a difference if we get it right. So yeah, our logs say that it's up, and we just got the name, which was an older project that shows us that the server is working. We can come back over here and resubmit. Great, and so that worked. And so the key here was just to read the documentation a little closer. The previous thing that I wrote was invalid. Sorry for making the video a little longer, but I think it's useful to show that, everybody just struggles with this stuff. I'm not sure anybody gets this like right away. It's a kind of a process to work through. So I try to show that a little bit without doing it too much. I cut out some of the fat. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you in the next lesson.